Isn't that a shame? You should be ashamed of yourself not standing up. You should be ashamed of yourself. That is why I'm also asking you to end deadly sanctuary cities that protect the criminals and enact serious penalties for public officials who block the removal of criminal aliens. In many cases, drug lords, murderers all over our country, they're blocking the removal of these people out of our country, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
Our opening clip was Congresswoman Ilhan Omar of Minnesota calling out convicted felon Trump's State of the Union infomercial. She repeatedly yelled, "You have killed Americans." There have been several casualties of ICE in Minnesota, including at least 2 murders. Rep. Omar showed the only way to sit in that chamber, paid for with our tax dollars, watch this convicted felon Trump's speech on Tuesday night. That was the only way to watch it, by screaming over and over again the truth. You have killed Americans, Donald Trump. You have killed Americans. It is an absolute disgrace that the Democratic Party didn't plan to all unite and chant that in one voice again and again, loud and clear, so all of the world could hear. You have killed Americans. Donald Trump is a mass murderer. Every single person, including the entire Republican Party, the entire Trump family, Trump mafia, they all enable that mass murder. All of them. So it's a shame that the People's Microphone wasn't louder on Tuesday night, and it could have been if we had stronger Democratic Party leadership that met this moment. So my response to the State of the Union is to elect better Democrats, especially on the state level. 2 Gaslit Nation listeners wanted me to flag 2 important races for you. First up, here's Susana Ledesma Woody running for county commissioner in Precinct 4 in Texas.
Hi, Travis County. I'm Susana Ledesma Woody, and I'm running for Travis County Commissioner Precinct 4, the candidate in this race that has lived in and has served in the unincorporated parts of Travis County. So I don't just talk about underinvestment. I have lived it, organized around it, and fought it. I challenge the lack of accountability, the lack of resources, the lack of urgency that we have faced for far too long. I didn't wait to be anointed. I didn't wait for permission, because that's what real leadership requires. We are living in a moment that demands moral clarity. When people are being targeted, when families are being separated, when the system fails our most vulnerable populations, we need leaders that will stand up. And not just when it's convenient, but every single day. As a school board trustee, and my record proves my ability to support students, staff, teachers, and the community. We've been able to pass bonds and build equitable schools, all without raising your tax rate. I also have project management experience. That's long-range planning, that's budgeting, people management, procurement. All of this is the experience that I bring to the Commissioner's Court. But this race isn't just about experience and values. It's about who you trust, who will stand up when it's hard, who will speak out when it matters, and who will serve you with integrity. I know that with your support, we can create a Travis County that reflects the heart and the strength of the folks who live here. I'm Susana Ledesma Woody. You can find more about me at votesusana.net. Early voting starts February 17th, and March 3rd is the election day. Thank you so much.
Next up is Dominic Azzolini, who is running for the Pennsylvania State House of Representatives in the 139th Legislative District, serving Pike and Wayne counties.
Hi, my name is Dominic Azzolini, and I'm running for PA State Representative for the 139th District. I grew up right here in Pike County. I went through the Delaware Valley school system, and I graduated from TD in 2018. My job is to help neighbors plant roots in our community, the same community that raised me. I'm running because I believe that we need a representative who actually knows the people that they serve. I'm not a career politician. I'm a neighbor, who wants to ensure that Pike and Wayne counties will remain a place that my neighbors can live, work, and afford to thrive. I want to bring a real sense of hope and local accountability back to our government. I'm ready to work, I'm ready to listen, and I hope that you will support me in my run to represent us in Harrisburg. Thank you.
You can find out more about them in the show notes and share their campaign links on your social media. Please do. We've got to be each other's people mic now. We are the microphone of the people. We amplify each other. You matter. We all matter. We have to amplify each other now. That is the only way. The grassroots resistance, even if it's as simple as taking these campaign links I'm sharing in the show notes and publishing them on your own social media and saying, hey, if you live in Texas, check out this race. Hey, if you live in Pennsylvania, check out this race. Those little acts matter. They have powerful ripple effects more than you know. I will see you at Monday's Salon with our Gaslit Nation listeners who talk more about all of those things. Now, here's a continuation of my discussion with the investigative journalist Dave Troy of America 2.0 News. To listen to the full episode, be sure to support the show at patreon.com/gaslit. That's patreon.com/gaslit. But first, big announcement, I'll be launching my new book, Mrs. Orwell, a graphic novel about the wife and muse of George Orwell, at the Powerhouse Books Arena in Dumbo, Brooklyn. Dumbo, Brooklyn, Powerhouse Books Arena. So go to the show notes to find more info on that. Hope to see you there at our book launch party, and that's going to be Monday, April 13 in the evening. I'm so excited for that. It's going to be a live taping at Gaslit Nation, so come to the show, get your questions in. Now here's Dave Troy and the continuation of our conversation on Epstein, Trump, and how to liberate our very lives from the criminal elite. The way out of this is to be defiant, call the Acosta sweetheart deal for Epstein that let him jet set around the world, breaking his probation illegally, practically on a daily basis, according to the private investigators who were watching him because they were so outraged that he got away with raping children. He even broke his probation going to Miami to meet with his own lawyer, Alan Dershowitz. That's illegal. So this was an illegitimate deal, cover-up, that denied the rights of the survivors that bravely came forward. And not only that, Epstein broke the deal on a daily basis. So this whole Alex Acosta sweetheart deal is illegitimate, and everyone needs to treat it as such and demand, pass laws, pass ballot measures, referendums in New Mexico, in Ohio, in Florida, in New York State, everywhere, in California, everywhere these crimes by Epstein and his co-conspirators were carried out, because by passing those state laws or demanding your state attorney generals bring these cases, pick up your phone and call your attorney general and say, no matter where you live in this country, and say, I want you to use your full power to bring cases against Epstein and his co-conspirators. And don't listen to the billionaires like Les Wexner, who claims that, he was duped by charismatic Jeffrey Epstein. They're all just saying that now. They're claiming to be victims of Epstein's manipulation because they're trying to escape justice. Don't listen to them. Wexman was sophisticated enough to build $1 billion empire. He knew what he was doing when he was funneling $1 billion to serial pedophile Epstein. He knew what he was doing. Wexman should die in prison along with the rest of them. Well,
and also, I think there's kind of an error that Congress is making here, and trying to get testimony from Les Wexner, he is going to say whatever he's going to say, but what people ought to be doing at this point is subpoenaing all of his financial records. What were you doing with your money? Why was Epstein involved? Why did you give him power of attorney? What kind of transactions was he conducting on your behalf? Was it standard trading? Was he putting it into slush funds that were in turn, being used to overthrow governments? What the hell was going on with this? So I think, Ron Wyden has been on the right track by looking at all of these financial records. He's got, evidently coincidentally some kind of a list of 4,725 wire transfers worth over $1 billion, that needs to be inspected. I think that kind of stuff is useful. There's new revelations today about stuff possibly being stored away in storage containers around the country that Epstein may have been using as blackmail, material or whatever. Who knows? I won't speculate on that until we see it, but that's possible. And then your point about the Acosta deal, I think, is really well made, and that we know enough at this point to know that that was definitely a sham and a key pivotal moment that enabled him to continue doing what he was doing, which really led to the outcomes that we've all lived the last decade. A lot of the Bannon Epstein stuff, none of that would have been possible if that deal had gone the other way. So, there's two things that I think need to be looked at there. One is just a minimum of two things I can think of off the top of my head. One is that, there was that famous quote attributed to Acosta by the reporter Vicky Ward, which says that, I don't know, what's going on with this. He belongs to intelligence. And everybody has taken that to mean that he belongs to, U.S. intelligence. And I don't think that's necessarily an accurate read. I think that he belongs to a network that Alex Acosta maybe couldn't touch. And I also don't think it's necessarily, I don't necessarily trust Vicky Ward. I don't distrust her, but I distrust in general single source accounts of things. If there were 2 or 3 accounts that said something similar, I would trust that a lot more. So I think from a story perspective, that's a weak point that could be dug into and examined to see exactly kind of like, all right, what were we really talking about there? And then the second piece is there's a woman named Sigil Mandelker who was party to that deal with Acosta, who went on to be the undersecretary of Treasury responsible for terrorism or something under the Trump administration. And on her watch, she was overseeing FinCEN, and there were a bunch of FinCEN transactions that went missing or, basically became unfiled out of the FinCEN system pertaining to Mike Flynn. And to my knowledge, nobody's ever really looked at that. And yet she was one of the key architects, apparently, of this Acosta deal back in 07, 08, whatever it was. So, I feel like that now that we know a little bit more about this whole situation, there are these key moments, and that Acosta settlement definitely is one of them that needs to be picked apart in total forensic detail to the extent possible now, 18 years later.
It's such a extraordinary cover-up. It's amazing that George W. Bush comes to power and the apocalypse descends upon us, with his illegal wars, invasions of Afghanistan and Iraq, deregulating Wall Street, which then crashes the global economy. I mean, Epstein, leading up to the crash, was knowingly working at a Ponzi scheme on Wall Street. He got hired, to your point, in terms of which intelligence agency was he working for? Was it the CIA, or was it Mossad, or was it the GRU? I mean, because the Ponzi schemer on Wall Street, I forget the name of his name or the firm. He's in that documentary Filthy Rich on Netflix on Epstein that everyone should watch.
You're talking about Hoffenberger, maybe?
Hoffenberger, that's right. He talks about how he got a call from his European office or a European associate saying, you've got to hire Jeffrey Epstein. He's brilliant. He's who you need. And he's got no morals. None.
Yeah.
Bring him in. He's exactly what we need
to
keep our Ponzi scheme going. And Jeffrey Epstein was knowingly working for a Ponzi scheme. And then the economy, he was part of that whole viper's den of crashing the global economy. And what people don't realize is how common Ponzi schemes are. Like George Santos was involved in a Ponzi scheme. Like Ponzi schemes are not rare events, unfortunately, in America today. Even our beloved General Grant, who kept the Union together in the Civil War, he got completely destroyed financially in a Ponzi scheme. Like, who would do that to General Grant? Like, that's America for you. And so, yes. And what Epstein was ultimately doing, as described by Brad Edwards, and other lawyers for the survivors, he was running a pedophile rape Ponzi scheme where he would victimize one young girl and then
Right.
get her to talk to her classmates
like an
in middle school and
MLM.
high school. Yes. And these girls would be so mind fucked by this narcissist predator and the money was like hundreds of dollars, and they were all coming from vulnerable backgrounds. And they would then talk to their classmates in middle school and high school, and the victims themselves were recruiting other victims. And that it was a Ponzi scheme. They mapped it all out. It was a Ponzi scheme. It was horrifying.
Yeah, no, it's crazy in its scope.